It wasn't handsome enough to tempt me. Hello my fellow bats, welcome back to my channel. My name is Mel, for those of you who don't know me. And I do a little bit of everything here on this channel, just so you know, for those of you who haven't been with me for a while. So for today's video, I figured I would talk about all the books that I've been reading, because I haven't done a book review in quite some time, which does not mean that I have not been reading, because I have in fact been reading. I just haven't told you guys about it. Well, unless you follow me on Instagram. Not all of you follow me on Instagram. Get yourself together. Just kidding. Anyways, you can do what you want. So for those of you who don't follow me on my, or who don't follow my blog, or who don't like to read blogs, I did basically a blog post talking about all the books that I have been reading, and I have my laptop in front of me so that I can, because I wrote things down, notes, so I wouldn't forget, and so I wouldn't be a hot mess. Alright, so I'm going to start with the books that I read and finished, that I finished reading but did not review for you guys. The first one is Stiff by Mary Roach. Oh, well, somewhere? Yep, okay. Stiff by Mary Roach. It is wonderful, and if you are into death like I am, then you will love this book. It's more on the scientific side, but it's not like a textbook, if that makes sense. It's not like hyper scientific, but you learn the cool science-y parts, if that makes sense, of what happens to your body when you die, after you die, etc. She also goes through different ways to die, or different things you can do with your body after you die. She even goes through the crucifixion and puts two cases side by side of how exactly one dies during crucifixion and whatnot. It's very witty and it's funny. I said in my blog post that it explores several avenues and historical landmarks in the physical understanding and effects of death. So how different people understand death physically and spiritually. There's even a chapter in there that talks about the weight of the soul. So like, is there matter to the soul, basically? Like when you die, can it be physically substantiated, if that makes sense? Anyways, I'm talking too long. Okay. It even goes over body snatching and grave robbers, for those of you who are into Burke and Hare. I also want to do a Burke and Hare Company haul, but they're kind of expensive. Not that expensive, but kind of. For all the things that I want to get, it's a ways away. Next book that I read, but did not review, was Vathek by William Beckford. It was okay. I said, although it has some merit in terms of its addresses on the subject of human nature and morality, it's kind of a hot mess. It is very much a hot mess. It's not, I mean, granted you follow this one person through their journey, but it's doesn't always make sense, like the decisions that are made and motivations, and which I suppose is a reflection of human nature and how we are hot messes. But still, it's kind of frustrating. The plot is messy. I said a few things of value happen, though it could be argued for the book's sake that this is in fact what it would look like if one were allowed to simply follow one's own human nature with no bounds, despite the obvious repeated reproofs and consequences. So I think in that sense it's very realistic. If someone were to just do whatever the heck they wanted, regardless of warnings or consequences or anything like that. So, yep, I, generally speaking, would not recommend it. Moving on to books that I started but didn't finish, for one reason or another. First is The Best of H.P. Lovecraft. He is Edgar Allan Poe's 20th century counterpart, and I do love his writing. It's just after a while it got very redundant and monotonous, and I would like to be a fan of Cthulhu, more of a fan of him than I am. It's just, there's like too much mystery surrounding that makes sense. Like so much mystery to where all that you are exposed to, or all the knowledge that is imparted on you, gets repetitive because the rest is so unknown. Probably like the first two or three pieces in that book I really liked. I will list them down below for you guys because I'm running out of time. Second was Late Victorian Gothic Tales. I did almost finish this. I just didn't read like I didn't finish the last short story, which is called Vela, because it was just redundant, and I was like, I don't want to finish this. But it is really good. My favorite stories were I didn't read Pallinghurst Barrow. That was the only one I didn't read. But my favorites were Diania, Sir Edmund Orme, Lot Number 249, and The Case of Lady Sannox, and The Great God Pan. Ooh, also, okay, real quick, going back to H.P. Lovecraft, if there is any story in that collection that you read, let it be The Outsider. That was my absolute favorite. You have to read it. Like, you can't not read it. Just please read that. Even if you don't like H.P. Lovecraft, just please read that. And then let's talk about it. Because I would like someone to talk about that with. Anyways, okay, next one. The Bride of Lammermoor by Sir Walter Scott. I made the dreadful mistake of reading the introduction basically. If you read this book, don't read the introduction because it will ruin everything for you, and you'll basically know what's going to happen before it happens, and it's like there's no point in reading, which even then suggests that the writing itself wasn't good enough. However, I'm willing to give it a second try and just push through the first 2 or 3 chapters for the sake of just finishing it, I guess. It wasn't handsome enough to tempt me. I had to do that, sorry. Okay, last one is In a Glass Darkly, by Sheridan Le Fanu. It is a collection of his short stories. I loved all of them. Well, the ones that I read. I've read Carmilla, of course, which I do highly recommend. But I do recommend this whole collection, though. It's really good. My favorites were Green Tea and The Familiar, and Carmilla, obviously. So that was super quick. I'm sorry if it felt kind of rushed. It's just because, for whatever reason, the SD card that I use for this can only record so much video at a time, because this camera is, I guess, too intense for it or something. But like I said, if you want to know more, you can just read my blog post. Otherwise, I will see you guys in my next video. Don't forget to subscribe and hit the bell button, please, so that you know when I do upload. Anyways, you guys are amazing, and I will see you in my next video. Bye.